Hello, Yizhao Martins, licensed marriage and family therapist, couple therapist. Today I'm in the mood of telling you a story, a real one. And it's close to heart. It's too close to heart. So here's me coming to you, being vulnerable, like a fellow human being, as a daughter, as a Chinese woman. So there was one night I was video chatting with my parents, and my mom talked to me, actually complaining, I feel like a million times about my dad. Here it goes. Well, she said in Chinese, but I'm translating into English for you. She says, "Look at your dad. He is always on his phone. He's always like looking at something, reading something, or responding to someone." Blah, blah, blah. And go on and on. And I first noticed myself going a little bit woozy, dissociating a little bit. And this like numbness that just kind of cast over me as I go, don't listen. And then I noticed another part of me were feeling a little bit irritable, some irritation coming up, piercing through this veil of numbness. So I sat there and watched this energy, and because irritation is a form of aggression, that's energy, right? That's a human energy that can take on many different tasks and different roles. So I was observing those roles. There's a part of me that could be saying, yeah, mom, you're right, and dad is such a being contaminated by the modern technology, then I could just join her to blame my dad. That's part of one. And then there's another part could be saying, well, you're always complaining, you're trying to control dad and see how miserable he is. And no wonder he look at his phone. So that will be join my dad to attack my mom. And there's another part could be coming out with this irritation saying, oh, the world that we're in, that we can no longer enjoy each other's company without any technology. We used to be just spending time with each other only, and such quality time, right? Reminiscing and also criticizing the current world that we're in, right? So I was just sitting there observing all those parts, flipping through as if I'm flipping through a menu at a familiar restaurant. And then I got entertained by an idea. So I took on a different approach to channel my energy of frustration. And I turned to my dad. I asked him a gentle question. Well, in psychotherapy, we call it intervention. With my dad, just like gentle question. I said, Dad, what do you think mom trying to say? Well, my dad was taken by a shock, like by surprise, by my question. So he lifted up his head from his phone and looked really puzzled and pondered quite hard for a bit and said, I don't know. And I laughed. I said, isn't that a good place to start? Do you want to ask her? So they've been married for 40-something years, right? And it rarely occurred to them that there's another way to approach this old dance they have rehearsed for so many years and they're so familiar with. And it's really hard for us to be curious about what our partner's true intentions are, their thoughts and their feelings, their desires, their needs, and what's deeper than what they're presenting, which can be frustration or irritation. Sometimes we're even afraid to ask that question because what might happen? What if the answer, I don't like it? What if that means more work for me to ask more questions and to be with them and spending more energy and time, right? There's a part of us might be afraid of that. So we don't. We go back to the familiar, either being passive or being defensive. Either way, we kind of shut them down for their inquiry and we stop being curious about who they are. So what are the assumptions that you are making, say either in an ADHD affected relationship and your partner with ADHD or bury their head down to the phone? What are the assumptions that you're making as a non-ADHD partner, I say? Could that be they're playing video games, they are sexing someone, potential romantic partner, that they are surfing the porn sites, they are swiping left and right. That's a little bit less subtle though, if they're doing that. That they're being procrastinating, they're being a news junkie, they're online shopping, they are avoiding intimacy, they're avoiding contact with you, that they do not care about you, they don't love you, they don't find you interesting, that they find you boring, that they find you too much, they just want to disengage, they don't care. Keep going. Anything hits at this point for you? What is your version of your assumptions, your thoughts about your partner when they are doing this on the couch over dinner or something? So, and which part of you get activated by the thought of your assumption? And so this is getting pretty interesting, isn't it? Now let's turn it around. So now, if you're the partner that's the non-ADHD partner on this spectrum, this side of the spectrum of ADHD, and you see, oh, sorry, you're the ADHD partner on this side. Now, you're the one who's holding on the phone, and your partner or complains about you, your non-ADHD partner complains about you, you're always on your phone, right? So what are your assumptions about your partner that's complaining? Could that be your partner's being bossy? Or some other B words that I'm not gonna mention here that you're thinking? They're being controlling, they're being needy, they're being immature, they're being, I don't know, pushy, or are they PMSing? Are they perimenopausing or menopausing? Are they being nosy? Are they being passive aggressive? Or maybe you thinking they're always finding faults in me, that they don't love me anymore, that they're trying to pick a fight, that they're never satisfied. Or if you're like many of my clients with ADHD in a relationship, you might think, I'm never good enough for them. It doesn't matter how much I try. I just did the dishes. I just did this and that. And I sit down for one bit with my phone. And here it goes again. They're never going to be happy with me. That I will never get my alone time. That I don't deserve to have my alone time. It goes on and on, right? And how's that impacting you? Do you notice the difference between the non-ADHD partner's assumptions and the ADHD partner's assumptions, right? The first one is more about assumptions about the facts. The second one is more about either their view of their partner or the view about themselves, some self-defeating thoughts there as well, right? So now, are you curious, like, what's the answer? So what is that my mom was really wanting and thinking in that moment? Well, I have some assumptions myself based on 40-something years of knowing her and familiar with the way she thinks or behaves. So I'm making some assumptions right here, okay? I'm going to say in Chinese just for the entertainment, and then I'll translate into Chinese for you, English for you, okay? So she'll be say something like,我想你看我的脸，我想你看我的眼睛，老头，我想知道你这么多年了跟我结婚，你还是觉得我很美丽、很漂亮，然后你觉得我很有趣，你想跟我分享你的内心世界，你还是爱我的，你是觉得我是足够好，我足够好，我一个人就可以满足你的一切，我是你的一切。So in English, something like that. I want you to look at my face. I want to look into my eyes. I want you to tell me that I'm still beautiful after 40 years of marriage. I want you to tell me that you find me interesting, you want to share your internal worlds with me, that I want emotional intimacy. And I'm enough for you, that I'm everything for you, right? So the last bit, I'm everything for you, meaning I'm enough as a person to meet all your needs, that you're content with being just with me. You don't need anything else. That's a little bit idealistic, right? And how can one have all their needs met by just one person? That's almost impossible. It's like a fantasy. It's very egocentric in some way. But the words before that, I'm good enough, that hits pretty hard, right? Across board, I hear my couples that I work with, either the ADHD partner, non-ADHD partner, everyone in our life seems to have the same, you can say, hang up or core pain, that I'm not good enough for you. So if that we can achieve the goal to acknowledge the part of us that stop us from feeling not good enough, isn't that a good starting point? Then from that place, it seems all the problems are just solved, right? And you probably won't feel as bothered if you think you're good enough for your partner when your partner is on their phone, or the other way around. And all it takes is to feel that you're so good enough for yourself and for everybody else. And when you want something from your partner, all you need to say is, hey, love, I want your attention. So you want attention from your attention deficit partner. I hope this is entertaining for you, my friends, and thank you for your attention today. I will see you next week.